afternoon. My name is Hensllyn Pwe'a-Boseto, and I work for Ecological Solutions Foundation. We are a local NGO that is based in Gizo, Western Province of the Solomon Islands. My part in the organization is the office and project manager. The work that we do at Ecological Solutions vary. So we cover things like scientific research, we do climate change advocacy, we do forest and forest conservation, so natural resource management. We do a lot of environmental impact assessments, and all this environmental stuff. So the last 3 days have been very great. I was able to listen to what other people from other organizations from other countries are doing in terms of addressing climate change. Some of the things that have been a takeaway for me was that there are some activities that I didn't think was loss and damage that I heard they were presented, and so it was very good to have a fair idea about what are the different activities others from other organizations in other countries are actually doing, because all the things that are happening in other countries are very similar to the Solomons, and so I can relate very well from the activities that they've shared. I think also one big takeaway for me is the networking. Because this is my first time to attend the UUSC convening, I have started to form relationships with other individuals from other organizations in other countries, and we feel like a family, yes. And also to meet the UUSC staff in person, and now we get to know each other, and I think this is very important for us, because apart from communicating just on WhatsApp, you get to see the person and you get to know more about them. And so this is important for me, because it gives me more confidence when I need to reach out to UUSC, maybe because something is not going on well as planned, but I am free to interact with them because of the relationship we have established. Another thing that has stood out for me in these 3 days is seeing the different levels of engagements that other organizations are participating in. So for instance, people like me in our organization, we mostly work at the grassroots level with the communities, but it is interesting to see and to hear about some organizations who are working at a policy level. They're working with the governments and working with other governments in other countries, more towards policy and laws and things that govern, the loss and damage. And so you get to see the more holistic team in this whole UUSC team, where you see people right from the policy level who are dialoguing over there, but then people like us who work on the ground with the communities. So you will see that there is a link, because whatever we do in the community must be the government's priorities. It must be linked all up, from the local community to the provincial community to the national level to the regional level. And you can see all of these levels in the meeting. And that was very interesting to me, and to hear about what they do as an organization. So as an organization, with the funds that we get from UUSC, we were able to support communities who have been victimized by a sea level rise. So for instance, we have a community in Choiseul province of the Solomon Islands, on an island called Nuatambu, whose community have been washed away and has split into two islands now. Literally, there's two islands now. There's a sea in the middle where the community was located, and there were about 24 homes that have been destroyed. And so these people, or the community themselves, the people have relocated on their own to the mainland Treasure Island, to their own land tenure system, so where their ancestors came from, and have rebuilt their own homes by themselves. So with the funds that we get from UUSC, we were able to support them to build their new homes. So the support that we provided were things like masonites and louvers and iron rods and water tanks and the water tank fittings and the whole lot. Now it may seem small, but to them it is a very big impact because there is no government help. They have only been relocated on their own. So we did for that community on Watambu, and also the same thing too with a small community in Roviana on an island called Nusa Hope. And these communities are very grateful. Because of the funds that we get from UUSC, we were able to provide such support for them, and so they're able to rebuild their new homes. Also with the UUSC support, under the loss and damage fund, we are able to provide water tanks also for I forgot one community. With the other one, we were able to also support communities of Wagina Island. So these are little islands that hosted people from Kiribati who have migrated to the Solomons. Very little islands, and they have very low water table. Now when they came over there, they were only able to use dugout wells for drinking, for cooking, for everything. Now, since salt water has come into the island, all their water wells are now salty, and so providing them water tanks helped to improve their lives by having access to clean water. So we installed water tanks in churches, so public buildings like the churches, and then the schools. There is a small island that is popular for farming of seaweed. We were able to give them at first one water tank, and then they requested for another because that little water tank served about 200 people, and that is not counting children, they said. And so we were able to provide for them another water tank. And so I think helping these communities with the funds that UUSC gave is such a big help to them, and they really appreciate it, and we are very glad to be part of this whole process. So some of the things that will be very important will be cutting down on fossil fuels, because that will help reduce the emissions. Secondly, increase more funds for loss and damage, because there are more people being affected that have not been supported. And thirdly, listen more to suggestions from the small islands governments, island nations, for the very practical experiences that their people have faced and what help can be given them.